I never fall in love, now I can't get enough of it. Oh my ex, and that's complicated. It feels so complicated. Yours, but I'll never say it. I'll never say
Kiss
it.
out of 6-7. All right, let's get these chill vibes real quick. Work's almost done.
All right, guys. Listen, we're gonna do a history section because I'm absolutely in love with history. I love history. I love knowing about things of the past because the past is just a figmentation of our imagination because it's always now. So it's always the past because it's always now. When it stops being now, then it begins being the past. Never mind that. Okay, let's go to our Black History section because Black people rock. Black people rock, man. All right, so Black History section. Now, usually in our school systems, when they in history class, when they begin talking about Black history in our school systems here in America, they automatically start at slavery because in this country, that is where Black history began. And when they teach you about Black history, they're definitely trying to keep you in this country with your history. They don't want you going further back from this country with your history because this country is what made your new history, which is a false history. But how is it false if we all accept it as truth? Moving on. The true history to Black history is the fact that when we were in Africa, the Roman Empire was running around destroying everyone and conquering their kingdoms. The Roman Empire had grown so big that it was no stopping them. They were just a machine of treachery. They beat everybody, and we were we were a kingdom of very, very powerful heroes and scientists and archaeologists, all the professions of the world you could think of. We mastered them all. We had basically ran the world up until the point where the Roman Empire started sweeping everything. How, when, and why did the Roman Empire started sweeping everything over everybody else? That's another conversation. We're talking about Black history. And okay, so very powerful. But when the Roman Empire came to get our kingdom, they did as they did before our kingdom. They smashed us. They crushed us at warfare. And we were the gods. Not literally speaking, but we were planet Earth's champions. They beat us too. They had they had the sun on their side. But when you conquer a kingdom, that means you kill their men. This is the laws of ancient warfare. All right. When you overtake a kingdom, you kill their men. You kill their men. Okay. You will enslave their sons. And you impregnate their wives and daughters. And that way, that bloodline of that kingdom will be erased because the only way for a bloodline to continue is through the womb of the woman. So when they conquer your kingdom, they kill your king and they kill his men. So now there's nothing left but women and children. The boys, you grow up to be a man one day, but you're just a boy now. So instead of killing you, I'll train you to be a slave, because you're more useful as a slave than dead. So I'll enslave your boys, and your daughters, I'll impregnate them with the seed of my blood. So when your daughters bear children, they will bear my blood. And then when the daughters of your daughters bear children, they will bear my blood. And if this goes on with your daughters bearing the blood of your enemy for so long, there'll be little pieces of you left with your genes predominantly being of your enemy now, basically erasing you and what you stood for, what your kingdom originally stood for, from history. Because not only is it through genetics now that they're erasing you, your kingdom, but when the stories of what happened are being told, guess who's telling them? The winning kingdom. Do you think that winning kingdom is going to show you any favoritism when they're writing the books in the history texts about what happened? No. No. They're not. They're going to give themselves all the glory. Okay? Which has happened. But when our powerful kingdom fell, guess what? There was a few. There was a few who knew of the coming of the fall of the kingdom. They knew of it. They knew the kingdom was going to fall. Okay? There was a small group that didn't agree with the rest of the kingdom, and they knew that the kingdom would fall. God told them. There's a lot of different, how that information, but they knew. And they set off and they ran from the kingdom. They ran. They got together, and in the night, they fled the kingdom, which included the queen of the kingdom. Soon after, the Romans invaded the kingdom, burned the kingdom to the ground, killed everyone, except the kids, and like I explained how warfare went. Now, that small group got away, though, from that massacre. And as the small group ran and ran through night, through day, they're running, they find some settlers. These are white people that were running through buying and trading goods. They were travelers. They had boats. They came from across the waters. And they came and they were doing businesses in these different markets, buying and selling goods with the other neighboring Africans. Okay? Now, this is so detrimental to history, because this is how they really screw our brains up as black people. They lied to us about where we came from. And how are you ever supposed to know where you're going if you don't know where you came from? Right? They tell us that African kingdoms were fighting and another kingdom sold the other kingdom out to, the slave masters and stuff that took them over to America. No. That's not how slavery went. No. Our kingdom fell. There was a small group that knew of the fall and didn't agree with the ways and didn't agree with nothing of the kingdom, and they fled the kingdom before the Romans invaded. And when the Romans invaded, they burnt the kingdom to the ground. That small group got away, and they ran and they ran and they ran. They followed the stars. They looked just like the Underground Railroad slaves. Just like Harriet Tubman and them. Same story, same dynamics. They ran and they ran and they ran and they ran. Reading the night sky to light their direction and where to go. Which led them to these white men with their boats from across the water that were doing trade in the market. Now, this is where slavery began. Kanye West, we all know how I feel about him. But he said one thing that was true, that everybody totally hated him for. But this is one thing that he said that was true. He said slavery was a choice. That's because, one thing he said that was right, that's because it was a choice. A tricky choice. It was a choice, but we were tricked. Because we told those white settlers with their boats, we told them what had happened, and we told them what we had to offer. And we paid those white settlers because they told us of a new land where we could go and we could prosper and we could rebuild away from the Roman oppression. We paid. They put us on their boats. When they put us on their boats, they put us in shackles and chains. It was a trick. But we were out at water, away from everything we've known, on this boat, these boats, with these white men who were once our friend when we were on land, promising us the whole world, promising us everything. And as soon as we get out to sea on their boats, they using their guns and their pitchforks to put us in chains and shackles. The most vicious of us wasn't having it. The grown, most vicious warriors of us wasn't having it. We fought them with their guns and their pitchfork knives. And we died. And we killed some of them. And the rest of them jumped off the boat. Cause we had figured out what the fuck had just happened. These niggas tricked us. Ambush. The warrior hearts couldn't stand for it. They jumped off them boats into the water. Cause they would have rather died on their feet than live on their knees. I'd have never came if I knew it was this. And I ain't going now that I know that it's this. Gone into the ocean. The only black people that they had left on those slave boats that they tricked us upon were children. Secret revealed. When the slaves were brought over and actually started to land on land in the Caribbean, through the Caribbean to the Americas, the only people, slaves now, that had touched land were children. All the adults had fought, died, and killed themselves by jumping over the boats, jumping off the boats. Now some would say, oh, these people, they jump off the boats and kill them and just leave their children, just left those children to them. That was pretty weak. No. You think that off the way you think and you believe. These people had a different tradition and belief system than what you think and believe. They believed that by jumping off of that boat, that they would die in the water of the ocean, but their spirit will live on to watch over those children that they left in that boat. They jumped off in massive numbers to bring massive spirits to watch over those children. Because these were not just no any people. These were the chosen people. God said, God, whoever, whatever voice, whoever you identify yourself with, your higher power, a higher power told these people, listen, I'm telling y'all because I like y'all. I want y'all to have another chance. But I'm about to rip this kingdom down. I'm about to have the Romans come through this place and tear it down. Y'all, I want you to run. I want you to gather this group and I want you to run and go that way. Because you're going to live on. But this kingdom's going down. They got that message and they escaped it. They escaped the destruction of the kingdom just to be led into a trap. But the belief, the faith and belief that these people had in their journey, because it was a journey, was so strong that it went past the grave. It went past the grave. No parent will just leave their child in an enemy's hand. And if you're a parent and your child is in danger, you automatically get some superpower. Automatically. It comes with parenting. No parent will leave their child. Their faith and their journey and their belief system was so strong that it went past the grave. When they realized what the fuck they had just gotten into, they said, okay, we about to go to plan B. Super kamikaze. They 1/3 of the population that went on those boats jumped off of the boats into the Atlantic Ocean. Because they believed that their spirit would live on and be more of an assistance to their children continuing the journey than their physical body could be. So they committed suicide for those children. Now let me tell you something. Those children, blessed children, blessed by the higher power and blessed by their damn ancestors, their fathers that came before them. They died. They died for us. And the story continues. When we came over here as slaves, there were so many revolutionary slaves. Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, Frederick Douglass, and the list goes on. There were so many revolutionary black people that are the offspring of those children, of those people who jumped out of those boats, who fled the dynasty, who got away and followed the stars to another day, to another chance, another opportunity to live on and not have your blood wiped away from history forevermore. We are the offspring. We are the descendants of those children, of those blessed children, you know. We're very powerful people, you know. And when I say we, I'm talking about people in general, human beings in general, but I am telling a specific story of the black people in the Western Hemisphere. That means the Caribbean. That means Haiti. That means Dominica. That means Puerto Rico. That means Cuba. That means Jamaica. That means Mexico. America. We're black people. We're the children of the slaves, the descendants of the slaves, who were never slaves. They were warriors, fighting the great fight, and we still warriors, fighting the great fight, because that's what we were built for. But it just so happens now, guys, listen, get your vaccinations. For real, black people, all black people, get your vaccinations. Because you need to be alive to see what happens next. Revolutionary, legendary. We did it again. We hit another milestone. Black people, we hit another. Get your damn vaccination so you alive to see this shit. Don't be these people fool. Don't be they fool. Walking around thinking ain't gonna. Don't be they fool. Go get your vaccination so you could live to see with the children, the descendants of them people, them blessed people. They said slaves, them blessed people with the descendants, the next milestone, because we hit a lot. We been hitting milestones and we ain't never. I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't stop. What? I thought I told you that we won't stop. I thought I told you that we won't.